Hello, everyone. I just thought of doing a recording today on the topic of employees. To be more precise, it's about the relationship between the employer or the employer and the employees. Through my years of experience being a leader or being an owner of a small company for the past decade. And I forgot to introduce myself. My name is PAC. And I figured I want to do this in English because it's a part of me. And lately I have not been able to find someone to converse in English with. So I decided to do in English. So anyway, without further ado, I have about 6 realizations of someone who's a boss or CEO of the company or the owner of the company, his expectation or his view of what being an employee means to him. And I'll just get started. The very first one, not saying that I at one time thought of this, but I certainly was part of that. Many employers, I like to believe that they treat employees like slaves, meaning that, and I see this, right, in other bosses or management that I come into contact with, and me, I'm sure that at one point in time treated employees in this way, in which I strive not to do it anymore. But employers can view their employees as slaves, meaning that the employees are supposed to follow their every whim. They probably feel that they can violate the personal space and time of the employees, let alone the personal respect. Do not value or do not see the value of that person or the employee. I know that it's 2024 now, but I'm pretty sure it's still pretty common out there where it doesn't matter how the employers view the employees, but I'm sure that there are many employees out there still, especially in Thailand, who feel that they are treated like slaves. For the record, slavery has been abolished or was abolished since Rama V, should be about at least 100 or 150 years ago. So this is the first common relationship that is shared mutually, or well, not mutually, but mutually, as in like the employers treat the employees like slaves and the employees feel like they're being treated like slaves. I believe this is the first stage. And, if you look at the history of humanity, not only until recently where this slavery relationship has been broken in a wide scale, right, in a large scale. You look back at, movies that we see, Egypt, the Romans, Thai, many cultures, right, had slavery. India had slavery as part of their class system. So for the office worker, I think that, especially knowledge workers, I don't think that this sort of mutual relationship works most effectively. I'm not going to touch on the ethics or even being humane in this talk. I just want to talk about the different type of employer-employee relationships that I see. So that's the first one, slavery. Graduating from this, then you have not a slavery, but a boss and, employees relationship. So this is a bit based on my observation, and I've had my fair shares or bad shares of acting like a boss to the employees more often than not. But we also do see or witness a lot of this. Actually, in fact, I do see a lot of this in my works with my clients. Some of the partners, I can observe this so clearly during conference calls, meetings with clients. I'm sure quite a few Codium employees feel that we have a boss and employee relationship. So if slavery was, as I had described in the previous tab, then what about boss and employee or look nong relationship? Well, you take orders, right? You feel that boss is almost like a god, meaning that he's untouchable. You just sort of like do what he's ordered you to do, right? You expect to follow. Perhaps next the third one. So transitioning from boss and employee relationship, then you have this newfound realization of what's the word? I don't remember. Turning around yourself like, oh, I'm not going to be the boss anymore. I want to treat the employees like family. So this is the third progression of the employer and employee relationship that I see marketed quite often, meaning that, hey, here we treat employees like family. And I did fall, prey to this belief I don't remember how many years ago. It's been a while, a long time ago. I can share with you frankly that I don't treat my employees like family members anymore. They are not my family. But I do see this. Maybe I don't feel it with my clients. I don't feel it with my partners. It is possible that some of the teams that we have in Codium, perhaps some of the teams or some of the employees feel towards each other, right? Like they are family members, meaning that they're like brothers and sisters. It is possible that some of my employees that are very close to me feel like I'm their father, like I'm their parents. But it's not something that at Codium we celebrate about. We do not, and I always share with my employees that we are not family members. But yes, I'd like to reiterate that I see it time to time at the fun-loving companies that project outward that they treat their employees like their family members. So that this is the third stage of the employer and employee relationship that maybe at a given point in time, Codium did, try to express that we treat employees like family members. Moving on to the fourth one. So from treating employees like family members, then this was the very first one that I felt had a really nice balance, meaning that it set the right expectation for me. That is treating employees like volunteers. And before I came to this realization, I don't remember if I read about this volunteership from Peter Drucker, but for a long time before I was able to set the expectation that, employees are like volunteers. They come and go. They do fuck up or mess up, you pay them unlike volunteers, but the attitude of whether or not they want to participate or work with you is more like voluntary, irrespective of how they really feel. What they tell you, right? Or how they project their feelings. Internally, I think that I realize that the employees have their own will. In other words, for a while, I think this for about 2 to 3 years, and this is like quite recent, until the end of 2022. I really did start treating the employees like volunteers. In other words, what are the characteristics of a volunteership relationship, right? Well, first of all, it's voluntary, meaning that you let your employees to do things according to their will, with a fine balance, of course. You do respect the quote-unquote time offs, meaning that you do respect their personal times because they're volunteers, right? Or you do respect the time that they decide to, help you or work. And then you also do respect the end of the time that they volunteer to work with you, meaning that, it's the end of the day, work time is done, they go home. And also, people come and go, meaning that they join the company because they want something, they want to get the experience, and then they leave. So the whole process of the expectation is that they are more like volunteers. They can come and go as they please. And believe it or not, that realization of setting that expectation, at least for me, has really lessened my pain of managing employees because I view them as volunteers. But you see, I'm just gonna spoil right now. Even, at least personally, this is my personal view, even setting the expectation that employees are like volunteers, in my opinion, is not good enough. In other words, I was dumber back then. I didn't know better. In my personal opinion, there are better ways to view the employer and employee relationships. The better mindset. So what next? Next, and this was a short time, maybe a year, maybe last year, because treating your employees like your client. In other words, you do not treat your employees any different from how you treat your client. I'd like to also add that at Codium, we do not view clients as gods, you can do no wrong kind of God. In fact, in my other posts on LinkedIn, I just shared that we do fire clients that do not fit our culture core value as needed as well. So, but yes, for a while, maybe for about half a year, last year, 2023, there was a period of time where I viewed the employees like my client. I respect them. I try my best to quote unquote not please them, but to satisfy their demands, and to the best of my ability to give them the values that they're looking for, right? To be useful, to be beneficial to them. So, and that's how it started to dawn upon me that I needed to establish a core value proposition. The promises that the company make to the employees, such as we promise that you'll get your camaraderie here, meaning that you get a good, fun work environment, friendly one. You'll get your opportunities to challenge yourself, to grow yourself. You'll get the opportunities to develop yourself outside of work, meaning that we do not view you as employees, but we view you as a well-rounded human. So we want to grow or develop a well-rounded employee. We want you to have,คุ้ม experience working at Codium, meaning that you can share with your loved ones that, hey, working here is like an investment. I get a lot, not only just the experience, the friendships, but also the compensation. And yeah, we want the experience to be relaxing, right? We want to not work hard, play harder. In fact, we're actually creating a company core value poster of work hard, play harder, but I cross out the hard and harder. We just want to work and play. We don't want people to work hard. We don't want people to play harder. We just want people to live, work, and play. And finally, we want the whole process or the whole experience to be manageable, for a lack of a better word. But yes, we want people to be able to focus on their work with minimal interruptions, minimal fuzz, minimal chaos, and minimal confusion. CODIUM. That's our core value proposition, Codium. And that is the basis for treating employees like clients. But even that, in my opinion, is not good enough. We move on to the final stage of PAC's realization of what the employer and employee relationship is like, at least at Codium. That is treating your employees like professional athletes. I think this is the best one. I'm not saying that this is, the best one, meaning that absolute truth. There's no better employer-employee relationship than treating employees like pro athletes. But I think this is probably the most suitable and profitable for both sides analogy. Why? Why is it that businesses, owners should treat their employees like professional athletes? So to sum up, before I go into details, right? I don't think that employers should treat their employees like slaves. I don't think you get, for knowledge workers, you actually will run them away if you treat them like slaves. No self-respecting employees want to be treated like slaves, knowledge workers. I also think that you can treat them as a boss-employee or look-น้อง relationship, but it's not optimal because if you hire a knowledge worker, you want them to contribute knowledge, right? To act as a boss is to limit their creativity, to limit their freedom of expression. We do not have, in my legal opinion, familial relationship between employers and employees because you do not fire your brothers, you do not fire your parents, you do not fire your sisters, but you can, as an employer and employee, legally fire someone, right? So, and that's why I don't think that it is legally correct to treat your employees like your family members, if you really mean it. And yes, I think it's nice and friendly and correct in terms of expectation if you want to treat your employees like volunteers, as we had discussed. But we can go further, I think. Treating employees like your clients will not only allow them to feel good, but also make them vested in also helping you being successful. Because remember, a client-vendor relationship, right, is a win-win situation, right? But I think the most accurate, and this is the one that I want to touch on, is that the best relationship is treating them as professional athletes. Why? Because you set clearly the performance expectation. You do not set any performance expectation. I mean, if you're really talking about volunteers, with volunteers, right? And if you treat your clients or your employees like your clients, you do not set any performance expectation on your clients. Even if they are late on paying you, you beg them to pay you on time. but you do not dare to request or to expect that they have to pay you on time. But if you treat your employees like professional athletes, I argue that all the expectations that you had with the volunteers, the clients, apply, and also you can set performance expectation. And I think that's what we want, because in the end, you hire people because they want to help you, right? And you want to hire competent people. So because of that, there needs to be a mutual understanding of what they can expect from you and you expecting from them. Performance. Both ways. No professional athletes will stay with your team suck. Likewise, I bet if you are the team owner, you will also not hire any incompetent athletes. And you can fire professional athletes, right, if they do not perform. And likewise, professional athletes can be hired or lured away by other teams, e.g. other companies. So that's why I think the most suitable expectation of what the true employer and employee relationship is actually a professional athlete relationship. So that's it for today. I'm PAC and I hope that you got something from this. I shared with you my experience of employer and employee relationship from almost over 10 years of failing, fucking up, misunderstanding, over-expecting, under-expecting, and all sorts of stuff that, one can fuck up. And I just share with you frankly. So do let me know what you think. Just comment below. All right. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.